Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lasses, and welcome to the click. You smell absolutely astounding today, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. But there is an odor that stands above the rest, isn't that right? Jesse? Yes, indeed, Jesse. Have you been cooking something tasty there, Jesse? Let him cook. Am I right? So today we're doing something absolutely beautiful. If there is one thing that we all love and we all can get behind, it is trauma. We all love nostalgia, and in my book, trauma is just negative nostalgia. So it's, you feel better about the current world if you only have negative nostalgia to go by. But this video specifically is about traumatizing people back. You know when you have an unlikable Karen or a bad boss or a bully or something like that is really getting on your nerves or borderline harassing you, and you just have a zinger comeback or a vengeful little scheme. Well, that is what TraumatizeThemBack is all about. It's kind of like, ethical traumatization. That's basically what it is. So enjoy this video of ethical traumatization. Enjoy. Mwah. I am a type 1 diabetic. I require insulin to live multiple times a day. When I was in middle school many years ago, we didn't have insulin pumps and had to use syringes and vials like everyone else. The school refused to let me carry it with me, meaning I had to go to the nurse's office several times a day to inject. It's not just before lunch, but it could be any number of times depending on the current blood sugar levels. The district then cut nurse staff to just spending half a day at 2 schools, and the nurse left before I had lunch. I asked the office staff to unlock the office so I could take my insulin and eat lunch. They refused. That seems like a great idea. By middle school, I had been dealing with T1 for about 5 years, and I didn't take any poo on the topic. I went to the school lobby, picked up the payphone, I just dated myself, and called 911, telling them, "Hi, I'm at school. I'm a type 1 diabetic and the office won't unlock the door and let me take insulin." They sent a fire truck, and a bunch of firemen met me outside and walked me to the office and asked, while ignoring the staff, which room was the nurse's office. I pointed to the door and he was like, "Okay boys, chop it down. This kid needs his insulin." Suddenly, the office secretary could unlock the door, and I didn't need to put it in the nurse's office every day anymore. Based fireman. You sign up for the job because you want to save lives, and sometimes you get a chance to just be really clear about, yes, it is my job to save lives. There is an obstacle, and I am paid to use a fire axe to solve this problem. Sometimes you are an axe, and the problem is a door. Oh, that is beautiful. A fireman has my absolute respect. Have you seen the Australian calendars with shirtless firemen cuddling, puppies and kittens and that kind of stuff, and they're all absolutely jacked and that sort of thing? It's just for science, It's just for science, okay? If you find one at my place, it's completely unrelated. Real proud of my comeback to an airplane Karen. I have relatively wide shoulders and was flying middle seat in economy. Oh, that is the absolute worst. I hate middle seats. I was coming back from a work trip on a full flight from New Orleans to Atlanta, about 1.5 hours. About 5 minutes after takeoff, the aisle seat Karen was acting real restless, squirming and sighing and rolling her eyes and scoffing. It was clear it was because I was using the armrest between us. I tried making as much space as possible for her, but given my size and seat, I couldn't really do much. Am I the only one who's going by the typical airplane etiquette that, the window person can lean on the window, the aisle person can spread their legs and stuff out a bit into the aisle, and the middle person has the middle armrests, right? Am I the only one who kind of goes by that sort of unspoken rule? I guess so. Then she snapped at me, going off about how nobody is impressed by your muscles. You take up way too much space. No one wants to deal with sitting next to meatheads like you. Blah, 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 blah. So I interrupted her little rant and very politely, but very loudly, replied with, "Miss, why don't you simmer down? This is a short flight, and if there is one thing nobody wants to deal with, it's a crying child on an airplane." Window seat and folks across the aisle burst out laughing. Karen was beet red and seething for the rest of the flight. Airplane stories, aren't they just the best when everyone is just crammed together like sweet little sardines? It reminds me of that beautiful post that went viral a while ago when they were trying to optimize airplane seating so everyone would have more space. And just one seat in front was higher up, so you could squeeze in the other seat kind of half underneath it. But then you had one person's face right up in the butt of the person in front. Do you want the first class seat, or do you want to smell the farts of the people in first class? It is up to you. dear traveler. What a way to sell seats, right? If you don't pay more, you're gonna literally get farted on the whole flight. Excuse me? What's the food on today's flight? Oh god. It's beans. No, I am not donating blood. I was in high school when this happened. I was going to weekly doctor's appointments at a renowned specialty hospital, undergoing tests from every specialist under the sun there. I missed a lot of school as a result of trying to diagnose an unknown autoimmune disease at the time. I was sitting in my AP statistic class when the head student council was going around giving out permission forms to donate blood for the blood drive that the high school was having. Before they handed me the paper in class, I told them I can't donate. They made a snarky remark about me being afraid of needles and that everyone else in class will be donating, and I don't care about people in need. Oh, that is a really sure way to turn people off from your charity. I mean, imagine going around shaming people for legitimate phobias. I had a nurse who was so scared that I would fall over her and crush her because of my needle phobia. She's like, okay, don't fall over now. I know you're afraid of needles. And I'm like, okay, I can make it to the place I'm going to lay down. We just have to go kind of fast. I can't stand up for more than 60 seconds, Blood is starting to go away from my head. It's like, ooh, it's a bit of a feeling. But yeah, if you want people to donate stuff, I'm sure you can make it a bit more of a positive experience than going around and shaming people for phobias. Come on now. I looked them straight in the face and said, I had 10 tubes of blood taken from me yesterday during my oncology appointment to see if I have leukemia. I am not afraid of needles. I literally cannot give blood because I have an autoimmune disease and/or cancer, and I've been told I should not donate blood at any point in life because of it. I am not missing class every week for the fun of it. Needless to say, oh, that's a pun, I appreciate that. Needless to say, they were speechless, and the teacher asked them to stop handing out forms unless the student requested a form. I think that's pretty reasonable. Encourage people to give blood because it is a very good thing and it really does save lives. It is a beautiful thing to do, but also going up and assuming that everyone is willing to, either because of medical conditions or phobias or whatever, and be snarky about it. Come on, that's the worst thing you can do. If you want to recruit people for a good cause, the last thing you should do is be a snarky asshole about it. Oh gee, what's the thing that you're gonna link together with this charity thing? Oh, snarky assholes. Yeah, that's really gonna bring people over. I am sure of it. Substitute teacher asks students to turn off her insulin pump. What's it with all the teachers? They're trying to kill diabetic kids. Oh my god. This happened in high school. We were a pretty chill group of students, and while they were definitive friend groups, we all got along well. A girl in our year had an insulin pump for type 1 diabetes. Teachers and students alike knew, but this substitute teacher was definitely in the dark. She was an old, crotchety woman, and far too strict compared to most subs. Okay, click, mind out of gutter. The pump beeps for the first time, and the teacher's head jolts up. Whose phone was that? We all ignore her and go back to our business. Sometime later, the pump beeps again. Teacher is already on high alert and zeroes in on the student. I heard that. Turn it off now, or I will take it. Student tries to explain it's her insulin pump. No excuses. Give me your phone now. Everyone in the class is paying attention, and a few speak up. It's really her pump, miss. She has diabetes. What the frick? Now, teacher has a choice here. Accept she is wrong, apologize, and move on. But no, she doubles down. Well, turn it off then, or mute it. No electronics in class. Okay, there's this thing in life where there's rules, right? No phones in class, makes perfect sense, focus on the class, don't interrupt others, right? But then there are certain things that, override other rules. It would be like saying, oh no, you can't pass me in traffic because it's illegal to drive at those kind of speeds at this road. But it's literally an ambulance, certain rules bypass other rules, okay? The entire class goes wild. Echoes of what the frick echo through the room. The echoes are echoing. The poor girl is going beet red and desperately trying to explain why she can't turn off her pump when the class clown comes to the rescue. She will literally die. What the heck is wrong with you? Teacher goes silent, looking mortified. Class ends and we never saw her again. I mean, I can imagine you will get fired pretty fast as a sub-teacher if you refuse kids their meds. That is... That's a pretty bad thing to do, fam. Come on. She asked me when I was due, and I told her I was 12 years old. Is this gonna be one of those really fondly stories when some old lady is going up and caressing the tummy of random people? Oh my god, when are you gonna give birth? You know, one of those ones. For context, this happened when I was around 16 years old. I have always struggled with severe endometriosis, and an unfortunate side effect of endo is severe bloating, or endo belly. Usually to the point where I look very pregnant. Even after 2 surgeries, I still get it sometimes at 26 years old. At the time, I was 5'6" and about 100 pounds, so I looked like a pole with a huge bump sticking out. I lived with my parents at the time, which was in a small conservative beach town in FL. Lots of old judgmental people. 16-year-old me was walking around Walmart, minding my own business, ironically looking for maternity pants because the bloating gets so bad. A woman, probably in her 50s, walked up to me and placed her hand on my stomach. Oh my god, I called it. It's always that kind of person. And happily said, "Oh my god, when are you due? You look amazing, you're so young." Yeah, nothing like going up and fondling another person of questionable age randomly in the Walmart. Oh yeah, you're Why are these people allowed to roam society, I swear to god? I think this is one of those like really weird biases in society that if the roles were flipped in any sort of way, this would be seen as super creepy and like police would be called. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is super creepy, but it's one of those weird things that people get away with because, oh my god, it's just a sweet young woman fondling a young girl that she thinks is pregnant. You know, it's like, yeah, great. Now, this wasn't the first time I've had someone ask me this question, but it was the first time someone had the audacity to put their hand on my stomach. I stood there for a second, just shocked, and then said, "Oh, I'm not sure, I'm only 12. My mom knows all that stuff about pregnancy." She immediately turned pale, took 3 steps back, and let out a nervous chuckle. I just stared at her smiling, holding my stomach as she mumbled something under her breath, and walked away. I still try to come up with funny things to say in these situations because it still happens today. No one has ever put their hand on my stomach since that day, but I have been asked when I'm due so many times. If anyone has any good responses to this I could use as a 26-year-old, please let me know. Oh my god, the comments are gonna be absolutely amazing, I swear to god. But that is also so incredibly wild. Like, there is this kind of thing, right, where you don't comment about people's pregnancy unless you know explicitly that they are pregnant. Like, it can get really awkward really fast. Like in this situation, the girl isn't even pregnant, for God's sake, and you go up to a stranger and you start like touching them out of nowhere. Oh my god. It's bad enough when you ask if someone is pregnant and you get an awkward response like, "No, I'm just dealing with this bloating," or whatever. It's like, oh man. You know, that's awkward enough. But then going up and fondling people in public that you don't know, yeah, that's an entire different level of unhinged, isn't it? No, my friend's dead. Clarification, I am a girl. About a week ago, I was buying flowers. I'm at the checkout and had just paid. Minding my business and waiting for the cashier to hand the flowers back. When the cashier looks me up and down, I am wearing the equivalent of a tropical shirt, work jeans, and hiking boots, with pigtails to finish it off, and comments, "Buying flowers for your girlfriend, homo." Customer service galore. Hell yeah. I would have laughed in any other situation, or maybe confirmed the statement as I am gay and not bothered by homophobes. But in this specific one, I replied, "No, I'm getting them for my friend. She died a month ago. I was on a school trip, so I didn't get to go to her funeral. I was actually getting them for my best friend, who went on the school trip with me. His friend was the one who died, and at the same time, he was too devastated to even leave his house to go anywhere except the graveyard to visit her. That is so sad." The instant reaction was, however, very worth it. The cashier kind of stuttered and then shoved a bunch of flowers back into my hands. On the way out, I noticed about half the people behind me in the line shooting the cashier dirty looks. I mean, yeah, they got a bunch of dirty looks for very good reasons, like not only the raging homophobia, but also making like wild assumptions while someone is picking up flowers and getting a really nice clapback at it. So yeah, definitely deserved. I hope it's the last time they do that. I left feeling very proud of myself. My friend smiled when I told him about it. The next time I turned up to that shop, the cashier didn't say a word. That's how you do it. You traumatize people into silence. Oh, you want to be a little bully, a little homophobe at the flower shop? Well, just traumatize them back, and they will never dare to do it again. I mean, for most people, honestly, like social pressure and social shame can do so much in making them back off. It's absolutely astounding. Cancer isn't contagious. So I am 33 and dealing with cervical cancer. I have lost all my hair from chemo, including my nose hair, so it causes me to sniffle all the time. I wear headscarves and have no eyelashes. I feel like I'm pretty identifiable as a cancer patient. Earlier today, I was at the grocery store, and this older woman came up to me with the nastiest tone and proceeded to tell me I'm disgusting and shouldn't be out in public if I'm sick without a mask. So I told her, luckily cancer isn't contagious, and she will probably outlive me, so she shouldn't be too worried about it. Was it petty? Yes, but I would do it 1,000 times over because the look on her face was priceless. She never said another word, but the color drained from her face, and her eyes were so big. It was worth it. Thank you all so much for the kind comments. I have got one more chemo session left and plan on kicking this cancer's butt. I truly appreciate all the well wishes. It means a lot. Yeah, kick that cancer's ass. It doesn't stand a chance. There is something very special about masks and the kind of people they like bring out from the woodworks, isn't it? All the people that are like anti-masks, they go around and be like, oh, they're face diapers and da-da-da-da. But most of the time, you might even wear a mask because you are sick yourself, so you don't sneeze on people, right? It's just a decent thing to do. And sometimes it's people like this. They're like so pro-masks, they go and harass cancer patients. Like, I don't know, man. Something about masks just brings out the most Karen-esque of people, doesn't it? I am going through puberty. I transitioned from female to male many years back while working at a grocery store. No matter what store you're at, there's always one old man who likes to be a creep and harass the young female employees. We had one such guy. Short, chubby, long graying hair, open gray shirt with gray chest hair spilling out. And he loved the ladies. Oh, he sounds like a grade A Rizzler. Oh, yes. After months of being hit on by him, the girls at work would avoid him at all costs. If they spotted him coming into the store, they would immediately ask one of the guys to the cashier or assist this man instead of one of them. I always volunteered to deal with him as I had years of experience with creeps already. Of course, this guy hit on me as well. I never played into it, but largely ignored it or acted confused. Then I finally started taking testosterone. In a matter of months, my voice had dropped considerably, and a few fuzzy hairs were growing out of my chin. I was so happy. And then one day, in comes Mr. Creep. A woman that I worked with ducked behind the customer service desk and asked me to handle him, which I was glad to do. I help him with whatever bill he was trying to pay, and eventually he says, "Do you have a cold, sweetie?" No, feeling great, actually. Oh, well, why is your voice all deep then? Me, holding back a smirk. Well, that's what happens when boys go through puberty. The creep's eyes went wide as saucers, as he realized that when he thought he had been sexualizing a woman, he was actually sexualizing a young man all along. Oh my god, I was creeping on the wrong gender. Fuck. He stammered throughout the rest of the transaction, and by the end said, see you later, boss. That is so cringe. Oh my god, I'm over here creeping on all these girls, but I accidentally crept on a boy. They're gonna think I'm gay. The switch from sweetie cutie sugar to boss/son was actually very affirming in the end. Thank you, kind souls, for the couple of words. I have never received one before. Thank you very much. What's the equivalent creepiness for dudes? What up there, sugar balls? These kind of people must be studied, I swear to God, because we humans are very social creatures, right? We're very programmed to, like, worry about our reputation and what we look like and how we're perceived and that kind of stuff. It's sort of unavoidable. Like, you can train yourself to care less, like, so you care at a healthy level, but we always do care, one way or another. And I find it so astounding with people like this that somehow, like, I don't know, they just don't have that. It's so weird. Like, wouldn't you pick up on the fact that every single person at all the local stores think you're an actual creep? Like... Man, talk about social suicide, I swear to God. Or at least I hope it's social suicide. I mean, you never know in some contexts, but at least hypothetically it should be. Just a kiss. My wife's mom dates a grumpy old MAGA guy named Don, 87. He is racist, homophobic, the works. When he visits, we steer the conversation towards cars, baseball, and other topics less likely to spark Don's racist rants. We've also told him flat out to cool that crap, because it's 2024 and about time to get over it. My wife's sister married a black man, and they have 2 sons sons, Kevin and Lyle, 26 and 25. Okay, so they're not even young. You know, the sons are full-fledged adults. Thanksgiving brings the whole family together. Knowing that Don holds views formed in the 1950s, our nephews decided to traumatize him a bit. As Don was leaving our Thanksgiving get-together, Kevin stuck out his hand and then pulled him in for a hug and kissed him on the cheek. Lyle captured it on video. The shocked expression on Ron's face when a young black man wearing an MLK hoodie hugged and kissed him was priceless. Oh no, poor little Don. His 1940s worldview was just rocked by a little kissy and a huggy. Oh god. Pull their hair back. Context: my mother is 59 years old. My brother has twins, boy and girl. My mom watches them most days while they are at work. She's still learning the new parenting, but she's harmless overall. Anyway, I have a 15-month-old. He is getting into the hair yanking phase. I told her this, and here is how that conversation unfolded. M is mom and OP is myself. OP: my son has started grabbing our hair and yanking it out. Just take his hair and pull it back. It worked with you. Yeah, and now I'm into hair pulling. So what does that tell you? My mom lost it, and I'm pretty sure my dad was in the room. To me, that's a bonus. Oh my god. There's nothing like surprise intimate facts with way too uptight people that sort of low-key encourage child abuse, right? Oh man. Oh, what a doozy. I would have loved to be a little fly on the wall there just to see the face. If I am in the ER, I am sick. So I had a migraine and was having trouble holding anything down. So I was in the waiting room at night wearing sunglasses, trying not to throw up. A lady started telling me that it was rude to wear the sunglasses. You're sitting, half asleep and half dead, in a waiting room at the hospital. Who gives a shit if you look pleasant or not? Oh my god! I told her, very quietly, because obviously my head hurt, that I had a migraine. She said that wasn't real and I should just go home and let people who were really sick be there. Ah, you have a migraine? Have you tried, I don't know, just not having it? It's so easy. Just get good. You can thank me later. Not how it works, but okay. I tried twice to tell her to leave me alone and then just threw up on her shoes. It wasn't much because I had been throwing up before then, but she looked sick and walked away quickly, asking for help and new shoes. And before anyone asks, I didn't go in for the pain. I went in because I was starting to get dehydrated for the vomiting. I got fluids and Zufran to settle my stomach. Edit, this was several years ago. Now I have my migraines mostly under control. Ah yes, indeed, nothing like emergency splaining to people who are just waiting in the ER room. What an absolute goodie. Thanks, Karen. According to me, random waiting room Karen, in my non-existent medical knowledge, you're not sick enough to go to the hospital. I hope this lady doesn't actually give people health advice. I mean, she probably does. I mean, she literally goes up to people in the ER wait room. Of course she does. Oh my god, you shouldn't go to the hospital if you have migraine. Have you tried, I don't know, eating a pine cone? I've heard that helps because it's so fucking holistic. I filled in for my parents today at my little sister's college orientation because they couldn't make it. While I was having lunch with the other parents, one of the moms commented on how young I looked. I told her I had Jessica when I was 13. She choked on her salad. Oh my god, you were just brought into this world to cause mayhem and chaos. I'm sort of proud though. You want my wheelchair? Hi, so I, F49, am disabled. I have severe arthritis in most of my body. Plus, I've had a back surgery, knee surgery, etc. I can walk a bit, but no further than room to room in my house. So on the odd occasion I leave, I have to go with my husband in tow, as I require a motorized wheelchair. I can't wheel myself due to the arthritis. I am always getting comments about how great my chair is, or people want one. I usually ignore it. But 2 weeks ago, my husband, M41, and I had to go grocery shopping. Now, I live in rural Western Australia, so you never know how someone will be dressed. I was going past this older drunk guy with no shoes on. He sees me in my chair and says, "What am I doing using my legs? I should get me one of those." My intrusive thoughts popped out my mouth, and I looked at him and said, "Would you like the disability that goes with it?" The look on his face was priceless. He looked shocked and said, "No," before getting out of there. It felt great. I had noticed a young woman in her 20s looking like she was trying not to listen in, and she turned to me saying, "Great answer. Some people should know when to keep their mouths shut." So sweet. 2 weeks later, and I am still pleased with myself. I put up with bullies and abuse all my life. It's rare I bite back. But it felt good. Yeah, what an odd comment to make. It's such like a drunk creep in the middle of the day in a Walmart kind of vibe, isn't it? Today, my aunt said I should have stayed with my cheating husband. But you have to forgive him for family and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's not him who betrayed family literally first, but it's all on you. We were at a small family party today for my cousin, now 20F's birthday today, and my dear aunt came to bestow her wisdom upon me. Oh no, it's one of those. She whispered quietly to me how I was stupid for leaving my cheating husband, and particularly on how I would be a broke single mom with children who would grow up to hate me for leaving their father. First of all, who walks up to people and says that? And second of all, she can't be talking. So I said, well, you were still married to a cheater, and somehow your kids still hate you, so I think the problem is you. You weren't even invited to your own daughter's birthday, and you're still broke as hell. Oh my god. This aunt is on the biggest bottle of copium I have ever seen in my life. She is literally all the things she is trying to project upon others. But she's also staying with her cheating partner. Oh my god. Oh, the absolute burn. Immediately gasps from entire family as I shout this. Keep in mind she was whispering because her daughter, my cousin, didn't even invite her and was thrown out by my cousin. Oh my god, how to become a family outcast 101. This is definitely some levels of projection. Jesus Christ, man, what an unbearable aunt. Woof. My god, have we found ourselves on Phobia? Never mind, I don't know what that is. It's probably not a subreddit anyway. Let's get into the post, shall we? We have a pretty beat up front driveway. We like it that way because its shabby appearance helps keep the thieves away. My husband, M, late 40s, muscly, and I, F, early 40s, were in the front yard putting in a new mailbox. A man in a work truck pulled up, ignored me completely, and asked my husband if he wanted the driveway resurfaced. She's the boss here at home, said my husband, pointing at me. But your house looks so bad. You got no manly pride? Asked the man, still ignoring me. My husband is a full union journeyman engineer at his job, but I've been doing property management all my life, and this house is my baby. What replacement substrate would you use? I asked him. Street? Substrate. Substrate? If you don't know the vocabulary, you can't work on this property. Whatever. He dismissed me and sneered at my husband. She wears the pants in your family, hey? No, said my husband. I'm her attack dog. Woof. The idiot's face went from vindictive to scared, and we chortled while he scurried back to his truck. Oh my god, we need to invent a term for like LRIS, but when it comes to like salespeople, right? This is how you have LRIS when you try to sell stuff. Jesus Christ, man. Publicly mock my Zoom background. Pre-COVID, we were all working from home. Cameras on or off typically. One particular meeting, the boss, who liked to laugh at the expense of others, decided all cameras needed to be on without warning. I looked presentable and wasn't concerned. For whatever reason, the boss called me out laughing and asked, "Are you really taking a meeting in the bathroom and you need a mask?" And I had the pleasure of answering with, "No, I'm at my dad's chemotherapy appointment with him." Oh my god, can you imagine like the boss doing this in front of the entire meeting? Man, the vibes after that must have been absolutely astounding. What was his reaction? The very fumbled, I didn't know, then awkwardly carried on trying to be funny with the next person after my stern, yep. He did try to make some comment about the curtain behind me looking like a shower curtain first. Didn't help. Oh my god, how to embarrass yourself one-on-one. Jesus Christ, some people are just masochists for like social embarrassment, I swear to god. I remember reading this very beautiful tweet the other day where it was something like, I am not engaging with this rage bait. This is obviously written by someone with a fetish for being yelled at. And it's like, many of these cases, yeah, that's a pretty good comeback. I told my ex exactly what he wanted to hear. Or maybe not. Years ago, my ex called me. We still have contact because we have a child. After our divorce, he had a new girlfriend. I knew her, and wasted no time to have 2 more children with her. This new woman was at times very dramatic, and their relationship had a lot of ups and downs, and soon mostly downs, and eventually they broke up. So in one of these many crises near the end of the relationship, he called me and was whining about how bad it all is and that his girlfriend is accusing him to be naughtily perverted, and asked me if I also think this. In this moment, I felt somehow very good to tell him, don't worry, in terms of naughties, you were absolutely average. That was, but at the same time absolutely wasn't what he wanted to hear. Why would you do this to begin this? So let me get this straight. This dude called his ex-wife to complain about his current wife complaining about their intimate life. And then the ex-wife clapping back with her experience with their intimate life. I mean, what were you expecting, dude? Oh my god, out of all the people to vent that, you could have picked, like, I don't know, a friend of yours or something like that, but your ex-wife? Man, that is just gorgeous, isn't it? Jealous of how much time I had during sick leave? Earlier this year, I had 4 weeks of sick leave after my thyroid was removed due to cancer. I didn't have a lot of energy and wanted to find a silver lining. So I decided to re-knit some old favorite sweaters that don't fit me anymore due to weight loss. As a way of celebrating a new start, I guess. When I went back to work, one of my coworkers responded to the story by saying, I wish I had time to knit only 1 sweater in a month, let alone 3. So I replied, saying I highly recommend cancer as a way of finding the time to knit. Plenty of time and plenty of reasons to want to keep your brain somewhat occupied with something positive. She apologized. I didn't. That's the weirdest thing to say to someone that is back from a sick leave. And also you don't know why they were on sick leave. Why would you gamble this? Why are people so eager to just step on these social landmines? It's not even like landmines that are placed there originally. They literally go up there, dig down a landmine, and then they stomp on it purposefully. Oh my god, it blew up. Who would have thunk it? Oh man, this is like Darwinism, but socially. Jerk boss gets embarrassed in front of everyone. I just found this community and I thought I would share a story of the best TraumatizeThemBack I have ever witnessed. At my old job, we had a supervisor who always wanted to know why you were requesting PTO or sick leave. It became annoying, but Lazy broke him up from asking. We were all in the break room, I was sitting at the table next to Rodney, when Lazy walks up and quietly asked him, Rodney, did you get my request for Monday? He asks a bit loudly, Remind me why you're going to be out again? She was a bit annoyed and embarrassed, but yells out, I am going to be out because my lady parts need an inspection and tune-up. She walks out and everyone is shocked, and then everyone starts cracking up laughing. If someone could have instantly died from embarrassment, Rodney would have. He stopped asking after that. That is such a good, cute little clapback. You know, one thing I like about TraumatizeThemBack stories is when the trauma is equivalent to, like, the crime committed, so to say, right? This is like you're making someone else uncomfortable, you're being purposefully obtuse and just annoying about stuff that should be private, right? Sick leave and medical appointments, that sort of stuff. And then you get embarrassed in front of your colleagues because of it, right? It's pretty much like the crime matches the payback. And I like that kind of stuff when karma is appropriate. It's very beautiful. Hey, aren't you afraid of needles? Ah, yes. Thank you for asking. Many years ago, one of the people I used to work with, different department, was giving one of my employees a hard time over her being afraid of dogs. They were holding a very cute but kind of large puppy and kept thrusting at her, saying, "Aw, how can you be afraid of this cute little puppy?" Oh, that's the dumbest thing ever. It's not like particularly, rational, if you will. It's probably because they were attacked by a dog as a kid or something like that. Like if someone tells you they have arachnophobia, you don't start tossing spiders at them. Come on now. The puppy was overstimulated and barking his head off, and my employee was backed into a corner and obviously traumatized. I walked up and said, "Hey, aren't you afraid of needles?" I popped the cap off of one of my insulin pens, held the needle up to make sure she saw it, and then lifted my shirt. I very slowly and deliberately stabbed the needle into my abdomen over and over. Ooh, this makes my spine tingle, but it's worth it because of the trauma. Her face turned white and she dropped the puppy, which ran off to its owner. She later apologized for the whole thing to both me and my employee. She said she almost fainted and that she would take other people's issues more seriously from then on. That's also the weirdest thing about this kind of story. Like if you have a phobia yourself, like needles for example, you should be able to very easily relate to other phobias. It's like, oh my god, it's just the same thing I'm dealing with, but just replace the specific object with something else. It's like, it should be so easy to relate to, but yet you're a butthole about it. Oh my god, how could you be this like non-aware about issues that you're literally dealing with yourself? That is just astounding, isn't it? Bit offensive, innit? Had a friend in high school, 16F, very funny girl. I will call her Kayla. She had a brain tumor, and the day before her massive surgery, we took her to her favorite restaurant to spend some time with her. Stayed out late, around 11:30 p.m., a group of men, probably about 23, 24-ish, clearly incredibly drunk, came to our table. We looked a bit older than we were. They tried to hit on us. Jokingly, Kayla said to them that she was single, but one said to Kayla, "You need to work on your face if you think you gotta get somebody like us." All his friends laughed. Obviously, Kayla wasn't looking her best. She had barely gotten any sleep and had scars from surgery. She said to them in an incredibly serious voice, out of character for her, "Getting someone like you is the worst thing that could happen to me, and I have a high probability of dying tomorrow." Shocked them speechless. One of my friends after, to break the silence, said, "Bit offensive, innit?" Our catchphrase now. Oh, that's beautiful. That's such a good catchphrase. I love it. This old lady came to the bank I work at to withdraw $10. I told her that for withdrawals less than $100, she had to use the ATM. So she asked us to withdraw $1,000 in $10 bills. It sucked, but I counted it out and handed her the money. She took $10, gave me $990 and said, "Deposit this." Okay, you know how we joke sometimes about people not understanding technology and that kind of stuff, and like boomers boomering around and all that kind of thing? This is literally a boomer that knows how to play the game. Oh my god, she's too smart for this world. "Oh, you're so freaking hot, honestly. Wanna be daddy's good little girl?" "Do you wanna be daddy's good little girl?" Wait, what? What exactly do you mean by that? It's tucked away. A little guy-on-guy action. Oh, yes, indeed. Want to come to my place and practice some sword fighting? Oh, yes, indeed. Well, laddies, lasses, and lassos, I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed having you here, you wonderful, beautiful being. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy New Year's, all that kind of stuff. Enjoy yourself because you do deserve it, and I will see you again in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.